Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be solving the equation x to the power of x is equal to x to the power of 2x squared. So to solve this, I'm going to first start by taking the ln on both sides. And if I have something in the form ln a to the power of b, this is equal to b times ln a. So this turns into x times ln x is equal to 2x squared times ln x. Now, I'm going to subtract 2x squared times ln x on both sides. So I get x times ln x minus 2x squared times ln x is equal to 0. And now if I factor out ln x, I get ln x times x minus 2x squared is equal to 0. So this gives me two equations. I have ln x equals 0 and x minus 2x squared equals 0. For ln x equals 0, I'm going to take e to the power of both sides. So these two cancel out, and I get x is equal to e to the power of 0, which is 1. For x minus 2x squared equals 0, I'm going to factor out x, so I get x times 1 minus 2x is equal to 0. So this means that x equals 0, and 1 minus 2x equals 0, meaning 1 is equal to 2x, and x is equal to 1/2. So these are my three solutions to this equation. Now, if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and also check out more videos on my channel. I have several challenging videos with lots of equations that you guys can try to solve, so make sure to check those out, and also share this, see if your friends can solve this. Thank you, bye. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be solving the equation x to the power of x to the power of 3 is equal to 729. So, to solve this, what I'm first going to do is take the power of 3 on both sides. So I get x to the power of x to the power of 3 to the power of 3 is equal to 729 to the power of 3. Now, if I have something in the form a to the power of m to the power of n, this is the same thing as a to the power of m times n. Now, m times n, I can also rewrite as n times m. And if something in the form a to the power of m to the power of n is equal to a to the power of m times n, then a to the power of n times m should also equal to a to the power of n to the power of n. So in simpler terms, a to the power of m to the power of n is equal to a to the power of n to the power of n. So now from here, I have x to the power of x to the power of 3 to the power of 3, and I can think of x to the power of 3 as m and 3 as n. So if I switch the places of these two, I get x to the power of 3 to the power of x to the power of 3. And remember, this is equal to 729 to the power of 3. Now, from here, I'm going to let x to the power of 3 equal to the variable y. So I get y to the power of y is equal to 729 to the power of 3. Now, I can simplify 729 to the power of 3. So 729 is the same thing as, 729, let's find some factors of this. So a factor of 729, let's try to divide this by 3. 729 divided by 3, we have 2 over here, so we get 6. We subtract 7 with 6, we get 1. We bring that to 2. 3 times 4 is 12. And now we bring that to 9. 3 times 3 is 9. So I get 729 is equal to 243 times 3. Now, 243, if I divide this by 3, I get 81. So I have this times 3 times 81, or sorry, I have 3 times 3 times 81, and 81 is the same thing as 3 to the power of 4. So I have 3 times 3 times 3 to the power of 4, which is equal to 3 to the power of 6, meaning 729 is the same thing as 3 to the power of 6. And 3 to the power of 6, I can break that down into 3 squared times 3 squared times 3 squared, which is equal to 9 to the power of 3. So I'm going to replace 9 to the power of 3 with 729. So I get y to the power of y is equal to 9 to the power of 3 to the power of 3. And the reason I did this is because 9 to the power of 3 to the power of 3 is the same thing as 9 to the power of 3 times 3. And 3 times 3 is 9. So I get y to the power of y is equal to 9 to the power of 9. And now I can use the property a to the power of a is equal to, if a to the power of a is equal to b to the power of b, this means that a equals b. So in this case, y is equal to 9. Now, recall how I let x to the power of 3 equal to y. Meaning, I get x to the power of 3 is equal to 9. So now to solve this, I'm going to take the cube root on both sides. So I get the cube root of x to the power of 3 is equal to the cube root of 9. Now the cube root of x to the power of 3 is simply just x. So I get x is equal to the cube root of 9. And this is the same thing as 9 to the power of 1/3.